Okay. It's time for some history. Okay. Actually, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Actually, yeah, let's do America. Okay. Alice Austin House. Birthplace of photographer Alice Austin and later of her partner Gertrude Tate. The Castro Camera and the Harvey Milk residence. Home and studio of Harvey Milk, the first openly gay person to win an election. Lenient sentencing following his assassination in 1978 led to the White Night riots. Cherry Grove Community House and Theater. Oldest continually operating gay summer theater. The Clubhouse. A social club for African American LGBTQ Washingtonians. Federal Building. In 1985, a protest took place at this location with AIDS activists chaining themselves to the door of the building, asking for an increase in funding for AIDS-related research, social services, and medical care. Henry Gerber House. Apartment of Henry Gerber, who founded the first gay rights organization. Great Wall of Los Angeles. Represent themes are also gay and lesbian rights. Hull House. Settlement House, co-funded by Jane Addams and Ellen Gates Starr. Pier 9 Bar. A disco for gay men. Stonewall Inn. Site of the Stonewall riots of 1969. First recognized National Historic Landmark and National Monument. Trinity Episcopal Church. Episcopal Church that hosted the first LGBT advocacy group in Missouri. Whiskey Row Historic District. A gay bar from 1975 to 1989. The Women's Building. Founded in 1971, among others, by San Francisco lesbian leader Wilma Guy, featuring the ABC miniseries When We Rise. Be right back. Okay, going through some timelines. 1900s. Okay, 1901. On June 8th, two women, Marcela Gracia Ivias and Elisa Sanchez Luego, attempted to get married in A Coruña, Galicia, Spain. To achieve it, Elisa had to adopt the male identity Mario Sanchez as listed on the marriage certificate. 1906, potentially the first openly gay American novel with a happy ending, Embrace, was published. Carl M. Bear in December 1906 became the first transgender person to undergo sex reassignment surgery. 1907 to 1909, Harden-Eulenburg affair in Germany. 1912, the first explicit reference to lesbianism in a Mormon magazine occurred when the Young Women's Journal paid tribute to Sappho of Lesbos. The Scientific Humanitarian Committee of the Netherlands, the first Dutch organization to campaign against anti-homosexual discrimination, is established by Dr. Jacob Scholler. Yep, I'm definitely putting Persona 5 footage for this one. Because of the F-Soar. Anyway, 1919, in Berlin, Germany, Dr. Magnus Hirschfeld co-funds the Institute for Sex Research. I'm not even gonna bother pronouncing the the German name. Anyway, a pioneering private research institute and counseling office. Its library of thousands of books was destroyed by Nazis in May 1933. 1920s. Okay, 21. In England, an attempt to make lesbianism illegal for the first time in Britain's history fails. 24. The first homosexual rights organization in America is founded by Henry Gerber in Chicago, the Society for Human Rights. The group exists for a few months before disbanding under police pressure. Paraguay and Peru legalized homosexuality. 29. On May 22nd, Catherine Lee Bates, author of America the Beautiful, dies. On October 16th, a Reichstag committee votes to repeal paragraph 175. The Nazis' rise to power prevents the implementation of the vote. 1930s. 31. Mädchen in Uniform, one of the first explicitly lesbian films and the first pro-lesbian film, is released. 32. Poland codifies the homosexual and heterosexual age of consent equally at 15. Polish law never had criminalized homosexuality, although occupying powers had outlawed it in 1835. 33. The National Socialist German Workers' Party bans homosexual groups. Homosexuals are sent to concentration camps. Nazis burned the library of Magnus Hirschfeld's Institute for Sexual Research and destroyed the institute. Denmark and Philippines decriminalizes homosexuality. 38. The word gay is used for the first time on film in reference to homosexuality in the film Bringing Up Baby. 40s. Okay, 40. Iceland decriminalizes homosexuality. The NWHK is disbanded in the Netherlands in May due to the German invasion, and most of its archive is voluntarily destroyed, while the rest is confiscated by Nazi soldiers. 42. Switzerland decriminalizes homosexuality with the age of consent set at 20. 44. Sweden decriminalizes homosexuality with the age of consent set at 18, and Suriname legalizes homosexuality. 45. The Holocaust ends, and it is estimated that between about 3,000 to about 9,000 homosexuals died in Nazi concentration and death camps, while it is estimated that between about 2,000 to about 6,000 homosexual survivors in Nazi concentration and death camps were required to serve out the full term of their sentences under paragraph 175 in prison. And the first drag ball took place in American sector of West Berlin in the fall of 1945 for honorary discharge gay veterans from the Veterans Benevolent Association, the first LGBT veterans group. Gay Ball Yanagi opened in Japan. 46. Plastic surgeon Harold Gillies carries out sex reassignment surgery on Michael Dillon in Britain. 48. For funding of AF 1948 or League of 1948, a homosexual group is formed in Denmark. 50s. Rina Natan becomes the first transsexual woman in Israel, undergoing sex reassignment surgery out of her own will. 51. Greece decriminalizes homosexuality. 56. The latter, the first nationally distributed lesbian publication in the United States, began publication. 56. Florida Legislative Investigation Committee, commonly known as the Johns Committee, established, failing to find communist ties to civil rights organizations. It investigates homosexuals as a threat to national security. 58. The Homosexual Law Reform Society is founded in the UK. Barbara Gittings founded the New York chapter of Daughters of Billets. 58. The first gay leather bar in the United States, the Gold Coast, opened in Chicago in 1958. It was founded by Dom Orijudos and Chuck Renslow. 60s. Canada. In March 1964, Ted North founded the Imperial Court of Canada, a monarchist society compromised primarily of drag personalities and becomes a driving force in the effort to achieve equality in Canada. The courts of Canada now have over 14 chapters across the country and is the oldest continuously running LGBT organization in Canada. 1964. The June 1964 Paul Welch Life article entitled Homosexuality in America was the first time a national publication reported on gay issues. Mm. 1967. Decriminalization of homosexuality. England and Wales, courtesy of the Sexual Offences Act 1967. The act did not apply to Scotland, Northern Ireland, or the Channel Islands. The Black Cat Tavern in Silver Lake, Los Angeles, was raided on New Year's Day by 12 plainclothes police officers who beat and arrested employees and patrons. The raid prompted a series of protests and began on January 5th, organized by Pride, Personal Rights in Defense and Education. It's the first use of the term pride that came to be associated with LGBT rights. The raid ended up promoting homosexual rights activity. 68. Decriminalization of homosexuality. East Germany via paragraph 175 in Bulgaria. 69. Paragraph 175 was eased in West Germany. I think they meant erase. Be right back. Okay. 70s. The first Gay Liberation Day March is held in New York City. The first Gay In was held in San Francisco. In November, the first Gay Rights March occurred in the UK at Highbury Fields, following the arrest of an activist from the Young Liberals for importuning. 71. Decriminalization of homosexuality. Austria, Costa Rica, and Finland. 72. Legalization of homosexuality. Hawaii. Frida Smith became the first openly lesbian minister in the Metropolitan Community Church. She was also their first female minister. Jack Fisher's book, Popular Witchcraft Straight from the Witch's Mouth, the first book to investigate gay Wicca and witchcraft, was published. 73. Legalization of homosexuality, Malta. 75. Gay American Indians, the first Gay American Indian Liberation Organization, was founded. 76. Equalization of age of consent, Denmark. 77. Legislation of homosexuality, Croatia, Monte, Slovenia, and Vojvodina. 'Welsh author Geoffrey Weeks published Coming Out. 78. Equalization of age of consent, Sweden. Significant LGBT murders. San Francisco Supervisor Harvey Milk and Mayor George Moscone were assassinated by former Supervisor Dan White. The rainbow flag was first used as a symbol of gay pride. 79. Homosexuality no longer considered an illness. Sweden, the first country in the world to declare so. This came about due to a number of people in the country calling into work sick with a with a case of being homosexual in protest of homosexuality being classified as an illness. This was followed by an activist occupation of the main office of the National Board of Health and Welfare before Sweden removed homosexuality as an illness a few months later. I'm sorry, but the whole calling into work sick with a case of being homosexual just sounds silly. Like, imagine homosexuality still being illegal. People going to work, I can't come into work today. I'm sick with a case of being homosexual. See, it's just funny, 'cause that's how I imagine, how it worked. Anyway, the first National Homosexual Rights March was held in Washington, D.C., the National March on Washington for Lesbian and Gay Rights. Okay. (1980) The Human Rights Campaign, funded by Steve Endine. The United States Democratic Party became the first major political party in the U.S. to endorse a homosexual rights platform. Plank. 81. Decriminalization of homosexuality. Victoria and Colombia, both with a uniform age of consent. Hong Kong's first sex change operation was performed. The first bisexual group in the United Kingdom, London Bisexual Group, was founded. 82. Decriminalization of homosexuality, Northern Ireland and Portugal for the second time. Chris Dickerson became the first openly gay Mr. Olympia. 83. AIDS was described as a gay plague by Reverend Jerry Falwell. 84. Legislation of homosexuality. New South Wales and Australia's Northern Territory. Massachusetts voters re-elected Representative Gary Stubbs with full knowledge of his homosexuality, him having come out the year before. 85. Equalization of age of consent, Belgium. The first memorial to gay Holocaust victims is dedicated. 86. Legalization of homosexuality, New Zealand, courtesy of the Homosexual Law Reform Act, which legalized sex between males over 16. Anti-discrimination legislation passed, Ontario. Becky Smith and Annie Affleck became the first openly lesbian couple in America granted legal joint adoption of a child. 87. ACT UP staged its first major demonstration. 17 protesters were arrested. Homo Monument, a memorial to persecuted homosexuals, opened in Amsterdam. 88. Age of consent of sodomy lowered, Canada, 18. The anti-gay Section 28 law was passed in England and Wales before being repealed in 2003. Scotland enacts almost identical legislation before being repealed in 2000. 89. Wait, no. 90s. Decriminalization of homosexuality. UK Crown dependency of Jersey and the Australian state of Queensland. Homosexuality no longer an illness. The World Health Organization. 1991. AIDS related. The red ribbon is first used as a symbol of the campaign against HIV/AIDS. Murder of Sonia Rescalvo Zafra in Barcelona became the first transgender hate crime in Spain, in which neo-Nazi skinheads attacked her while sleeping in the street, considered a turning point in the trans rights movement in Catalonia. 92. Equalization of age of consent, Iceland, Luxembourg, and Switzerland. Repeal of sodomy laws, UK Crown dependency of Isle of Man. Homosexuality still illegal until 1994. Recriminalization of homosexuality, AGRA, until March 2008. The Tokyo International Lesbian and Gay Film Festival was held in Japan. 93. Repeal of sodomy laws, Australian territory of Norfolk Island. Discrimination legislation. I have a hard time saying discrimination. U.S. state of Minnesota. Gender identity. Canadian province Saskatchewan. Sexual orientation. Significant LGBT murders. Brandentina. 94. Anti-discrimination legislation. South Africa sexual orientation interim constitution. LGBT organizations founded. National Coalition for Gay and Lesbian Equality. Gay parade was held in Japan. 95. King's Cross Steelers, the world's first gay rugby club, was founded. 96. Equalization of age of consent. Burkina Faso. Anti-discrimination legislation. Canada. Federal and sexual orientation. 97. The UK extends immigration rights to same-sex couples akin to marriage. 98. Significant LGBT murders. Rita Hester and Matthew Shepard. 99. Equalization of age of consent. Finland without adoption. 2000s. Okay. Revoking of discrimination legislation. UK subdivision of Scotland. Section 28. Hillary Clinton became the first First Lady to march in an LGBT pride parade. Okay, this ends part 1 of history.